it could make a more nationalistic pivot to rally the public. This is visible already. On April 15th, China's spy chief, Chen Yixin, warned that China must resolutely win the comprehensive war against hegemony. Grey zone activities in
China. Elite politics. Fighting on two fronts. Beyond his grapples with Donald Trump, Xi Jinping has plenty of other problems.
In Beijing, springtime warmth has drawn queues to restaurants offering alfresco dining. Trendy shopping districts are crowded. Mr. Jia, a 36-year-old investor, says he is not bothered by America's tariffs. Standing outside his friend's cupcake shop, he says Donald Trump's levies are a sign that America feels threatened by China's rise. America's power is declining, he says. What you feel in today's world is that hegemony is very hard to achieve. The trade war is everywhere. State media trumpet President Xi Jinping's support for multilateralism and international trade rules. Newspapers have shown Mr. Xi on a visit to Southeast Asia, creating development opportunities and supporting regional economic integration in the face of MAGA protectionism. China has warned countries it will retaliate if they buckle to American pressure to impose tariffs on China. There is some evidence the charm and harm campaign is working. On April 22nd, it was reported that Mr. Xi will be presented this week with a letter from Ishiba Shigeru, Japan's prime minister, aimed at maintaining stable trade links. Yet for Mr. Xi, what matters more is the domestic picture. Year on year, better than predicted. The full-year target is about 5%. The figure was buoyed by stimulus and a front-running of exports ahead of tariffs. The volume of shipping containers processed rose by 10% year-on-year in the week to April 20th, says Bloomberg, a news and analysis firm. Still, economists expect a sharp slowdown. Freight activity indicators suggest a drop is coming, says a survey by Goldman Sachs, a bank. Before Liberation Day, UBS, another bank, predicted growth of 4% in 2025. It now says 3.4% if the levies remain. Party leaders are paranoid about social stability, and Mr. Xi will be watching how an export and industrial slowdown might filter through into fragile public confidence. There are signs of nervousness. A survey by Morgan Stanley, another bank, after tariffs soared this month, found that 44% of 2,000 respondents in cities across China were worried that they or family members might lose their jobs, with many citing the levies. This was the highest share since the bank began conducting such polls in 2020. In terms of the relative negotiating hand China has with America, a weakening of domestic confidence has to be weighed against the carnage in the United States. On April 22nd, reports emerged that Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, had reassured investors in a private meeting that a trade deal with China would eventually be struck. Also that day, Mr. Trump said his tariffs on Chinese imports would come down substantially if a deal is reached. But for now, Mr. Xi is likely to stimulate more in order to prop up consumers. We have the ability to address external challenges, according to a statistics official. A Politburo meeting in late April may be the moment for more measures to boost housing, consumption, and industry. At that Politburo meeting, Mr. Xi's other domestic obsession may be visible, a never-ending purge of the armed forces. One of the Politburo's members has not been seen in public since early March. He is General He Weidong, one of two vice-chairmen of the Central Military Commission, or CMC, and number 3 in the military hierarchy. He was absent from a tree-planting activity in Beijing in early April, attended by Mr. Xi and other CMC members. State television did not show him at a conference on diplomacy on April 8th and 9th. If General He has been purged, he would be the highest-ranking uniformed member of the CMC to be dismissed since 1967. That would show Mr. Xi's military purges are not over. Li Shangfu, then the defense minister, was targeted in 2023. Biao Hua, the admiral responsible for enforcing loyalty to Mr. Xi within the PLA, was placed under investigation in 2024. In March, a senior member of the Military Commission's anti-graft unit, Lieutenant General Tang Yong, lost his job as an advisor to the national legislature. Such shake-ups are not a sideshow. The PLA is a core component of the Communist Party itself, and purges may have weakened its combat effectiveness, according to American intelligence. The interplay between the economic consequences of the trade war and signs of turmoil at the top of the party are crucial to understanding China. In one scenario, the trade war forces it to liberalize its economy, boosting consumption rather than state-led investment and easing up on entrepreneurs. But in a more paranoid environment, it could make a more nationalistic pivot to rally the public. This is visible already. On April 15th, China's spy chief, Chen Yixin, warned that China must resolutely win the comprehensive war against hegemony. Grey zone activities intimidating Taiwan are operating at an intense pace. What probably matters most to Mr. Xi is his own position and legacy. That will be decided in 2027 at the next party congress, when many analysts expect him to seek a fourth term as party boss. The next couple of years may be his biggest test yet.
The World This Week. Business.
The IMF significantly revised down its forecasts of global growth, mostly because the swift escalation of trade tensions and extremely high levels of policy uncertainty are expected to impact economic activity. The fund now expects the world economy to expand by 2.8% this year, down from its previous projection of 3.3%. Prospects for almost all the major economies were downgraded. America's GDP is now forecast to rise by 1.8% this year, and output in the euro area is expected to increase by 0.8%, with Germany not growing at all. The IMF admitted that given the fluid policy situation, its estimates could change. Stock markets had another rollercoaster week. Investors took fright when Donald Trump made several comments deriding Jerome Powell for not cutting interest rates at a faster pace. Rumours swirled that the president was studying ways to fire the Federal Reserve's chair. Car batteries continued apace when CATL, based in China, and the world's biggest battery producer, announced that its latest product could charge a car in 5 minutes with a range of 520 kilometres, that's 320 miles. BYD, Tesla's biggest rival in China, recently said it could provide a range of 470 kilometres from a 5-minute charge. The European Union fined Apple €500 million, that's $570 million, and Meta €200 million in the first penalties to be imposed for stifling competition under the EU's Digital Markets Act. Apple was fined for hindering communications between app developers and customers over pricing. Meta for telling users they must either allow their private data to be used for advertising or pay subscription fees. Both companies criticised the EU for levying the fines. Despite shutting down for a day in March because of a power outage, Heathrow Airport reported a decent increase in revenue and profit for the first quarter. United Health Group's share price failed to recover from the hammering it took after the company lowered its profit forecast. The health insurer blamed an unexpected rise in demand for medical services from older customers. Its stock slumped by 22% in a day. Brian Thompson, the CEO of United Healthcare, was murdered in December in Manhattan. The United Arab Emirates is set to take a gigantic leap of faith and use artificial intelligence to help write legislation, according to reports. The UAE has invested heavily in AI, with Abu Dhabi creating a state fund for the technology. Still, observers think allowing AI to take control of a country's laws is a brave step, given its tendency to hallucinate or make things up.
Leaders.
America's presidency. Only 1,361 days to go. Donald Trump's second term is a revolutionary project. Will it succeed?
The hyperactive first 100 days of Donald Trump's second term have been the most consequential of any president this century, and perhaps since the time of Franklin D. Roosevelt. Before the inauguration, Americans wondered what sort of government they were getting. That debate is now over. Mr. Trump is leading a revolutionary project that aspires to remake the economy, the bureaucracy, culture and foreign policy, even the idea of America itself. The question for the next 1,361 days is, will he succeed? Mr. Trump's presidency has been popular with his voters. His approval among Republicans is at 90%. He has faced little resistance as he has charged ahead on all fronts, attacking the civil service, law firms, universities, the media, and any institution he associates with the democratic-leaning elite. As with any revolution, MAGA has a method and a theory. The method is to bend or break the law in a blitz of executive orders, and when the courts catch up, to dare them to defy the president. The theory is one of unconstrained executive power, the idea that, as Richard Nixon suggested, if the president does something, then it's legal. This has already undermined things that actually make America great. A view of the national interest large enough to take in paying for AIDS medication in Africa. A sense that independent institutions have their own value. A belief that your political opponents can be patriots, and faith in the dollar. If this revolution is unchecked, it could lead towards authoritarianism. Some MAGA intellectuals admire Hungary, where Viktor Orban exercises control over the courts, the universities,
elite
and
politics.
the media. And America does indeed leave some room for a would-be authoritarian. Congress has created a lot of exceptions to normal rules, which can be activated by the president declaring an emergency. And Mr. Trump is making full use of them. Witness his delight at the